plug in all the wires we need. And yet, it is that simple. This is the quickest controller to set up that I've ever set up in over 9 or 10 years of DJing with the iPad. But we're not all set up yet. There is one more thing you have to do, and this confused me in the beginning when I first tried to use a Bluetooth DJ controller, the Pioneer DDJ200. So you would think to connect the Bluetooth device, you would go into your Bluetooth settings, but that is not true. What we have to do is go into our Djay Pro AI settings. So we're going to press the middle button, and then we're going to press the settings, go all the way down to the last one, MIDI devices, and then you're going to see this tab, which is Bluetooth MIDI devices. We're going to click on that one, and then we're going to see our controller. It says our controller, and it says that it is not connected. I wish there was a way you could have it automatically connect every time you plug in the controller, but you can't. So all you have to do is press that. Don't double press it. That's what I always do. So now we are connected. And what I think is really cool about this controller is as soon as you plug it in, it automatically outputs the music to your device, whether you're using your phone or your iPad. So you can literally, as soon as you turn that setting on, you can literally start DJing. So that is all you have to do to set it up. Plug it in, and then turn on the settings. This controller is awesome. And you may be thinking to yourself, what happens if I want to use headphones? Real DJs need wires. Like the other guy said, real DJs use headphones. If you did want to do that, what you would have to do is use a splitter like this. So this goes into the USB-C of your iPad. There's a way to charge the iPad, and then you could plug in your splitter. The splitter comes with the actual device, and then you plug in the splitter here, plug this into your USB-C, and then you would plug your output into one, and then your headphones into another. Is it the most stable and the highest quality connection? No, because you're using 2 or 3 adapters, but that's how you could use headphones and use it like a regular controller with headphones. But if you want to use a Bluetooth speaker, if your device is connected to a Bluetooth speaker, it will automatically start playing on the Bluetooth speaker. I feel like this device is more for people that want to practice DJing or just DJ with their friends with Bluetooth and not be all professional with the headphones. So let's get right into it. So right now we could tell that we have everything that we would need. So I'm going to start with the right deck, and then we are going to talk about it. First thing that you're going to notice is that the jog wheels are larger than other mini DJ controllers like the Numark DJ To Go To Touch. But even with the Bluetooth connectivity, there's no delay, and it's really smooth and really easy to start scratching. And they work really well. The difference between this and the Numark DJ To Go To Touch is these are not touch-activated jog wheels. So what does that mean? It means that the whole platter is going to scratch if you move it. And then if you turn off vinyl mode with this button here, then you could speed up the track, the same thing as if you were touching the side of the jog wheels. It's really cool that they were able to do touch-activated jog wheels in the Numark controller, but you don't need it. If you want to scratch, you could scratch. If you want to manually beat match, which you're probably not going to do with this controller, then you could turn it off vinyl mode. So we got the vinyl mode button. Also, if you plan on just keeping it on scratch mode, that's a great button that you can map into something else. Now we have our headphone button, and then when you press this button, it's going to bring the headphones to one side or the other. But this is also a great button that you could map into maybe effects or something, because when you move the crossfader, it automatically changes which one you're using. And then you could also split the output by pressing Shift, and then it will split the output if you're using the output splitter. Over here, we have a knob for our headphones if you're using the headphone splitter. Here we have our BPM slider to be clear, this controller feels a lot cheaper than the new Mark 1. It feels more plasticky, and it does feel like more like a toy. But the slider works good. It's a little bit light. I would have liked to see a little bit more feedback on it, but you could adjust the BPM and do it pretty accurately. Next, at the bottom, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but you have the sync button, which you're going to use a lot with this controller because these BPM sliders are hard to move. You have the Q button. And then if you press shift, it'll bring you back to the beginning of the track. So you press shift and Q and you'll automatically be at the bottom of the track. Next we have a play button. Works good. It lights up green when it's on. It blinks when you're not using it, so you know if a track is playing or if a track is not playing. Next, we have these pads, and I think these are the best pads out of any of these mini DJ controllers. So what we're going to do is it's automatically going to be in Q mode. When it's in Q mode, you're going to see if you have Q points set up, you are going to see them light up on the controller. So that's pretty cool. They are not RGB. They're not going to match the color that you set in Djay Pro AI. It would be cool if they were able to add that, but they light up, but they're not color coded. So keep that in mind. So you can set a new cue point, and then you could also hold shift and delete one. So you could set them and you can delete them. And then the next button over here is samples. So this is going to bring us into our sampler. And we get 4 samples on each side. Now you could use hotkeys for the left deck and then samples on the right deck. What goes on the left pads is not the same as on the right pads, which makes it really easy to switch from cue to sample. It's time to dance. And then if you want to use the other features, if you look highlighted in black, in order to use your effects, what you're going to do is you are going to press shift and then hit the hot cue button. And now we are in effect mode. And we got our effects. It automatically brings you to the instant effects, but when you press it, it stays on. So you could use reverb, juggler. You could put any effect in here, and it works really well with these pads. That was one thing missing from the new Mark DJ to go to touch, is there was no way to do effects. And then you could also, obviously, you're going to want to use loops. So to get back to hot cues, you're going to hold in shift. And then there you go. Effects. You hold shift to press effects. And if you want to go back to hot cues, you don't have to press shift again. And then you know that you have your hot cue selected because the lights light up if you have a cue point set. And then sampler, if you're on the sampler section, and then you hold in you press the sample button. Now we are going to be in our loops. And you can bring the loops all the way down. So these pads are really great. You have everything you need. You got your cues, you got your samples, you got your FX, and you even have loops. It's really cool how they were able to fit that in there. Honestly, I wish they made these buttons a little bit smaller and you could have just had 4 smaller buttons instead of having to use shift. But that's what we got. Now the next is a groundbreaking feature, and this is how you use it. They put a mixer in such a small controller. So we had filter and bass. So if you move this knob to the right, you got high pass filter. If you move it to the left, you get low pass filter. The same as if you were using this filter on the screen. And then what's really cool is if you press this button up here, you could change from filter. So we're in filter mode. Now, if it's lit up, it indicates that it's on bass mode. So now you could take out the bass or add the bass. A really good strategy for mixing is when you bring in the new track, you're going to take the bass out. So having this bass knob makes it so much easier. You could actually do nice blends with this because you can control your low EQ. And then the top one is just the volume slider. This may be confusing because you're used to that being like a mixer in other controllers, but this is the same thing as the volume sliders that we're used to on other controllers. And if it's all the way to the left, volume's off. Then you could slowly bring in the track. It takes a little bit getting used to. You think that's going to be like your high EQ or a filter because that's what you're used to seeing on controllers. And then you might want to have it set in the middle just like you were using it for your EQs. But it is your volume fader, and it works really well. You could do nice, smooth. You could gradually increase, lower the volume. You just can't do the flipping of the sliders, which a lot of EDM DJs like to do. And then now we have the crossfader. This crossfader works amazing. It's better than the Newmark one, in my opinion, and it's nice and small, so you could do really, really cool scratches. So you could do the chirp scratch. You could do any scratch that you could do on a larger controller. You could do it with this crossfader. And that's one of my favorite part of this controller is this really good crossfader. And that's it. This is a short tutorial because it's such an easy controller to use. I think every DJ that has Djay Pro AI should get this controller because it's just so easy to set up. Literally one wire, which is USB-C, which most people are going to have lying around if they have a laptop or an iPad Pro, or even Android phones. And also, you don't need any adapter. There is nothing plugged in to my iPad. Nothing plugged in the iPad, and it's going. So that's how you use this controller. Order one, start using it right away. It's amazing. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you want any questions answered, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.